blessing of your presence. We give you thanks for the ways that you call us to do and be good in the world around us. God, we ask that the meditation of my lips and of all of our hearts be pleasing in your sight, our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. Have you ever gotten a piece of advice from someone that turned into a rule to live by? Something so wise that you can make use of that advice every single day of your life? It might be a cliche, right? It might not necessarily be something that somebody gave just to you, but there might be a mantra or a piece of something that you repeat daily that helps you to be who you are and what you do. My husband got this kind of advice once in seminary, and I'm sure that you won't be able to guess it. A friend of his told him never pass up a chance to use the bathroom. That's it. Very simple. And I can attest to any time we leave a place, he says to himself and to everybody else in the house that's leaving, should I use the bathroom before I go? And the answer is always yes. Even if we don't have to go, it's almost annoying. I've never been in a situation, though, where I'm stuck somewhere thinking, wow, I'm glad I didn't use the bathroom before I left. So as annoying as it is for him to say, you should go to the bathroom before we leave, every time we leave, it's nice because I've never been in a situation where I thought, man, I wish I had not taken the 5 minutes to go to the bathroom before we left. But there are times that I can think of that I've been stuck somewhere, mostly in traffic, thinking, I wish I had used the bathroom before I left. This simple rule is based on a wise observation about life. It's usually easier to prevent an accident than to clean one up. You find simple rules like these throughout the Bible. The best known is probably do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Our reading from Isaiah has one of those simple rules that's easy to apply to our whole lives. At the end of verse 16, beginning of verse 17, it says, cease to do evil and learn to do good. This line reminds me of a piece of Methodist history. The first people called Methodists were actually Anglicans back in England in the 1700s. In a religious climate that was very laid back, they followed the example of a priest named John Wesley, who wanted to revive people's faith and lead people to take a serious, methodical approach to holy living. They formed groups called societies that would meet between Sundays to pray, sing, and preach. Each society was divided into classes based on where people lived, with 12 people to a class. Every week, the class leader would check in with every member of their class to see how they were doing spiritually, offer advice, comfort or correction as needed, and collect offerings for the society, its preachers, and for the needy. Every week, the class leader would also meet with the ministers of the society to let them know if their class members are sick or not living as they should and ignoring their advice, and also to render any offerings they collected. These societies grew into a whole Methodist movement. Anyone could become a member of one of these societies as long as they sincerely desired to get right with God and be saved from their sins. For the societies, the proof of a member's true sincerity was their adherence to 3 rules, and I'm sure that you've heard these rules over and over again. Do no harm, do good, and attend upon the ordinance of God, as well, and go well into. And then they go into what that's supposed to mean. The first general rule of the Methodist societies was do no harm by avoiding evil of every kind. As the prophet Isaiah put it, cease to do evil. The general rules, as they were first published, actually listed the kinds of evil that were most commonly practiced in those days. The first thing on their list was taking the name of God in vain. I don't think this is only about swearing when we stub our toe. Anytime we treat the things of God as ordinary or not very important, we take God's name in vain. Avoiding evil also has implications for how we use our time and our resources. It means not spending our free time entirely on things to indulge our desires, things that can't be used to honor God or spread the good news. Avoiding evil also means taking care to not mistreat or take advantage of people. It means doing unto others as we would have them do unto us, even if we have the right to strike back at them. The second general rule of the Methodist societies was to do good by being in every kind merciful after their power as they have opportunity, doing good of every possible sort, and as far as possible to all men. As Isaiah put it, learn to do good, not just passively be good, but actively seek it out. There's a quote associated with John Wesley, and it's debated whether Wesley himself ever said it or wrote these words, but they certainly capture the spirit of early Methodists. Do all the good you can by all the means you can, in all the ways you can, in all the places you can, at all the times you can, to all the people you can, as long as ever you can. The third general rule is to attend upon all the ordinances of God. It sounds fancy, and there's a $3 word in there, but it's actually the easiest rule to explain. There are certain practices that are known, established ways to seek God out. Things that you can do when you're not sure what you should do to get closer to God. They are gifts from God to us that include public worship of God, the ministry of the Word, that is, spreading the good news, taking Holy Communion, praying, studying the Bible, and fasting or abstaining to dedicate oneself more to God. These are means of grace, channels we can tune into to experience God's love more deeply. 3 rules: do no harm, do good, and seek out God's love. They are not the key to salvation. Salvation is available to any person who puts their trust in God as revealed to the world in the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. But this trust, this faith, naturally produces a desire to live in the way these rules describe. Through Isaiah, God commands us, wash yourselves, make yourselves clean. This would be impossible except that Jesus lived without sin and died on the cross for us. Putting our faith in Jesus and his sacrifice is what washes us and makes us clean. And with that confidence, the blessed assurance of our forgiveness, we are freed to follow God's command, to cease to do evil, and to learn to do good. May it be so. Amen.